Hey there everybody, Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to a very special edition of Forgotten Favorites. I've been talking about this one for a couple of weeks. Here we are going to look at a whole bunch of things I've accumulated over the last few months. Mostly some pretty obscure and rare 70s and 80s prog, hard rock, proto-metal, heavy metal, stuff like that. All sorts of strange things here. Some very, very cool stuff. I'm going to kind of show you each one of them and tell you what year they were released. In some instances, these bands were signed to major labels. In many, they were not. So these are real underground rarities and some pretty cool stuff. I've been trying to listen to as much of this as possible over the last few weeks. So I'll give you little descriptions if I can. Some I've only recently got in, but I just figured it'd be cool to show them to you anyway, even if I don't know the music on all these really, really well yet. I'm trying to get there. So we're going to start off first with this very cool band from the Netherlands. Yep, they're a Dutch band called Cargo. This album is from 1972. Okay, self-titled. Pretty cool stuff. Kind of proggy. Kind of jammy, a lot of hard rock, blistering guitar work. I dig it. Some Hammond organ on a few tracks. Stunning guitar work, actually. The guy, lead guitar player here, plays a Gibson SG, and man, can he shred. Holy smokes. Really cool, like heavy blues rock, touches of prog. Really like that a lot. All right, from 1979 from Canada. I think we've talked about this one before. This is Nightwinds. Okay. This reissue, this album is original from 1979. This reissue came out on the Laser's Edge label way back in the early 90s. Very cool Canadian prog, very melodic, a lot of cool like vintage instrumentation. Get a little Genesis feel in spots, a little bit of Gentle Giant maybe. Vocals are kind of high-pitched, remind me of Geddy Lee. That's about the only Rush comparison I'll make here. But very much firmly in the Genesis mold. Really good symphonic prog, really dig that a lot. What else we got here? Pantarray from Sweden, 1973. Home to one of the weirdest album covers ever. Look at that monstrosity, huh? Woo! This is pretty cool stuff. Kind of jazzy, kind of Canterbury. Some really cool fuzz guitar. I dig it. What else? From 1969, Portland, Oregon. Well, half the band was from Portland, Oregon. I think a couple of the guys were from Los Angeles, California. Hunger. Okay. The album's called Strictly From Hunger, but this reissue, it's got 2 discs on it. So apparently they recorded the whole album, and these guys are like a U.S. kind of like psychedelic garage rock band. Little touches of prog here and there, some really nice organ work. But they apparently went and re-recorded the album. So I think the original album was just called Hunger, and then the released album was called Strictly From Hunger, or vice versa. Again, trying to put all the pieces together on some of these new releases here. But more importantly, when they went back in to re-record the album, Ed King, guitar player, who at the time was with the Strawberry Alarm Clock, but of course many people know him to be a very strong guitar player with Lynyrd Skynyrd for a number of years. He actually came in and added a lot of really cool lead guitar to the album, so they kind of re-recorded it. I believe the singer was also different. So you got 2 versions of the album, one with the original singer without Ed King, one with the new singer with Ed King. They're both pretty cool, but of course I favor the Ed King album because he's a great player. Pretty cool stuff. U.S. kind of, like I said, garage rock, psychedelic type of thing. Okay, this is probably one of the best ones I've gotten out of all of this, and I got a couple stacks here. This band was from Germany. This album came out in 1971. The band is called Blackwater Park. Dirtbox. As some of you may imagine, Michael Ackerfeld from Opeth is a big fan of these guys, and I believe he got the idea for the name of the Blackwater Park album from these guys. Really good German hard rock, again from 71. Pretty progressive in spots, just amazing guitar work. A lot of heavy fuzz tone riffing. Some of these tunes are pretty frantic, some are kind of more in the blues rock vein, but man, pretty heavy album. And a band that just you never hear about. Very, very cool. Check that out. Also from Germany, from 1973, a band called Enigma. Okay, the album is called Diluvium. This was actually recommended by one of you guys. Dig this a lot. They're a trio, guitar, organ, drums, awesome stuff. Very proggy, kind of bits of Atomic Rooster, Vanilla Fudge, Blister and blues rock guitar, that sort of thing. Very, very cool. The Hammond organ is great on there. And this reissue is on the Garden of Delights label, which always does a fine job. Let's see, where are we going next? How about back to the U.S., a band from 1973 called Estus. Their claim to fame, actually produced by Andrew Oldham. Okay, you know that name, right? These guys were signed to a major label. The drummer actually used to play in a band called Dust. Eventually wound up in the Ramones. That's right, Mark Bell. Eventually otherwise known as Marky Ramone, right? So very cool. Hard rock album, bits of southern rock, kind of commercial sounding, but good heavy riffs on there. Very, very cool stuff. What else? More from the U.S. 1979, St. Paradise, kind of a supergroup. All right? Recognize any of those guys? Okay, we got Derek St. Holmes and Rob Grange from Ted Nugent's band, and Denny Carmassi from Montrose. Very cool, like accessible hard rock album from the late 70s. A band that, you know, had all the tools. Should have been big. Derek St. Holmes, can't beat the guy, man. He's so good. All right, this one, Cosmic Travelers. This is kind of a cool album from 1972. This is like a live album. This is just like a jam at the Spring Crater Celebration, Diamond Head, Oahu, Hawaii. Okay, it's just basically like a live jam of a bunch of musicians got together, never played before, and did this kind of like hard rock jam. A lot of psychedelic lead guitar work. There's just sizzling guitar solos all over the place. Funk. It's like a mix of kind of, I think Band of Gypsies, but a little more psychedelic, a little more like kind of R&B and funk rock. A lot of great wah-wah guitar solos. Really fun, kind of jammy album. I dig it. Also, staying in the U.S., San Francisco, Hammer from 1970. These guys were signed to Atlantic. One and only album. Good hard rock. Little bits of jazzy stuff on there too. Quite good. Great guitar work. Really strong. Vocals on here. And I think these guys had some stuff. I think Billy Graham, I believe, discovered them, if I'm not mistaken. Here we got two from the Graeme Edge Band. Of course, Graeme Edge, the drummer from the Moody Blues. He put together this really cool band in, I think, 75. These two albums are from 75 and 76. What is this? Paradise Ballroom, and what's the other one called? Kick Off Your Muddy Boots. I like this one a little better. They're both quite good. Got Adrian Gurvitz on lead guitar. I mean, you know, how can you go wrong there? Adrian Gurvitz, of course, from Gun and Three Man Army and Baker Gurvitz Army, a killer guitar player. As you can imagine, the music is kind of like the Moody Blues. A little bit of hard rock, a lot of prog, a little bit of pop. Really good, tasty guitar work, as you can imagine. And you got to love that artwork on those two, right? All right, let's go over to Germany. 1976, self-titled from Bullfrog. Another really strong, bluesy, early hard rock album. And what did I say, 1976? Yeah, quite good. That's the guys right there. I'll tell you so many of these cool albums, right? Back to 1971, we're going to stay in Germany. Weed, self-titled. Another one of the most worst album covers ever. Look at that. Terrible. These guys were kind of notable because they were actually a German band, but Ken Hensley, who was in Germany at the time, hooked up with them and decided to kind of anonymously sing, play guitar, and play Hammond organ on their album. So he's on vocals on almost every track on here. It's a short album. It's only like 31 minutes long. And at the same time, I think he was either in between albums with Heap, between the first album and Salisbury, something like that. But he kind of quickly went over, did this album with them. His imprint is all over this album. This is almost like a long-lost early 70s Uriah Heep album. Heavy Hammond organ, ripping guitar. Ken Hensley's on vocals. It's quite good. If you can get your hands on this, I highly recommend it. Good stuff. All right, to the UK, 1971, a band called Stonehouse. Stonehouse Creek. Another great, really good hard rock album. British blues rock and hard rock, early, you know, that sort of thing. Really good vocals. Killer guitar work. If you like free, excellent stuff. All right, 1982 from Canada, Christian hard rock band, the Daniel Band. This is another one that was recommended by one of my viewers here. This is good stuff. This is their first album from '82. Okay, it's called On Rock. Really good, crunchy guitar work. It's kind of proggy in spots. Kind of remind me a little bit of like a little bit of Saga, a little Rush, a little Boston maybe, you know. And you know, it's got the Christian lyrics, but it's not overly in your face. But really, really good guitar work. And it's pretty damn heavy for a Christian rock album. I dig it. All right, UK from 68 and 69, a kind of really obscure proto-metal band called Wicked Lady, The Axeman Cometh, and Psychotic Overkill. Now, you know, of course, these album covers are, sorry for the glare, folks. You get all the naked women from the silent film eras. Pretty cool stuff. I wouldn't say this is great. I actually was hoping for a little bit better than what I got here. These are okay. Kind of think of like maybe a not so doomy Pentagram, sort of. Good stuff. You know, kind of some early punk sounds here too. Kind of like the Stooges maybe, or the MC5, but pretty cool underground UK heavy rock, you know, proto-metal type of thing. Production's not so great on those, but very good curiosities there. All right, where else? Where am I on my list here? The Human Instinct from 1970 from New Zealand. This is called Stone Guitar. A lot of cool guitar jams on here. Kind of think like early Frank Marino stuff, you know, like that psychedelic blues rock stuff. I dig it. Fun, fun. From Belgium, 1971, Irish Coffee, self-titled. Really cool album. If you like the early Deep Purple sound, you will love this. So think Deep Purple's like first 3 albums. All right, very cool stuff. Let's see. Back to Great Britain. Help Yourself. These came out between 71 and 73. All right, so you got a couple. These are the BGO remasters, right? Or reissues, remasters. 2-on-1. Actually, this one's got 3-on-1. So these are all their albums. Kind of an interesting band. They're a British band, by the way. Kind of like they were trying to do kind of like the U.S. country rock sort of thing. But there's some psychedelia on here. There's some folk, a little bit of pop, some heavy rock as well. It's kind of like a mix of all sorts of different styles. Interesting to see like a British band trying to do like the country rock thing. So, you know, kind of think of like the early Eagles, little Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, maybe a little bit of the Flying Burrito Brothers, but they were definitely heavier. They had some kind of good hard rock moments, a little bit of prog, lots of folk. Good stuff. Very different. You know, I kind of took a chance on these and I like them. All right, next. A bunch of releases by a very cool U.S. band from Kansas City, Missouri. They released these albums between 1980 and 85. They actually have a bunch more, but these are the ones I picked up, their first 5. The band's called Shooting Star. Okay, that's their first one there. Okay. Or maybe this is their first one. Yeah, this is their first one. Sorry, guys. Really good stuff. Great album covers. Kind of, you know, definitely a hard rock band, but with lots of proggy moments. They had a guy who played violin, and huge Kansas influence. In fact, their current vocalist sang for these guys later in their career in the later 80s, not on these albums. And I hear a little bit of like early REO Speedwagon too, a little bit maybe like that early hard rock Jefferson Starship stuff. Good guitar work, great vocals, a lot of catchy stuff on here. Really, really quality albums, and I was actually surprised that I had never heard of these guys before. All right, signed to a major label. They were on Virgin Records, so pretty cool, and you know, definitely worth checking out. What else we got here? I got another stack, so don't go away. I told you we're in for the long haul here. All right, so where are we up to? Samuel Prati, another band from the UK, 1971, signed and sealed. Really good, underground, you know, heavy rock, blues rock sort of thing. Cool stuff. From 1978, back to the U.S., Axis, kind of a supergroup, all right? Vinny Appice, or Vinny Appice, drums. Danny Johnson, guitar and vocals. Both of them, at the time, just coming out of the Derringer band, Rick Derringer. Okay, and then you got Jay Davis on bass and vocals, just coming from Foreigner. Really good, like U.S. hard rock. Like that. Solid. What do we got next? From Mexico, 1977, Aeroblues. I think that's how they say it. Self-titled. Vocals are all in Spanish. This is ripping blues rock guitar, man. Psychedelic blues rock guitar. So again, think like that early, like Frank Marino stuff. Just guitar solos everywhere, some pretty heavy riffs. It's actually pretty damn heavy. One of the heavier like blues rock albums from the 70s that I've heard. Again, all the vocals are in Spanish, but just tons of jams. Very, very cool. Worth checking out. All right. 1971, staying here in the U.S., Maypole. This is called The Real. I like this a lot. Really good kind of psychedelic proto-prog and proto-metal, blues rock, everything tied into one. Great guitar work. Cool album cover. Classy stuff. I dig that. All right. From the UK, where are we? 1970. Aardvark. Power trio. Hammond organ power trio. Actually, you know what? I think they had 4 guys, not a power trio, 4 guys in the band. Right? Was it? No, I thought it was 3. Christ. I think it's 3 guys. What do we got? Percussion, vocals, organ, piano, and bass guitar. Oh, they are. Okay, 4-piece. No guitar, just bass. Hammond organ Orama. Think Atomic Rooster without the guitar. Pretty cool. Very, very cool. Lots of Hammond organ. Very early 70s feel. All right. From 1971, 1972, U.S., I believe they originated in New York. Bull Angus, Free for All, and self-titled. Cool album covers. Very cool heavy rock band. Dig these a lot. Man, bits of, Purple and Sabbath and Zeppelin and Grand Funk Railroad, that sort of thing. Oh, these are one of the favorites out of this whole batch that I got here. From 71, Germany, Krautrock, McChurch Sound Room. Delusion. Gotta love that spooky album cover, huh? Even creepier on the back. More really good kind of, German hard rock, Krautrock, with little bits of folky stuff in there, little bits of like Tull feel in there. Really, really solid album. All right, this one a lot of you guys know. This was also recommended to me by you guys. Touch, self-titled from 69. Which, could be also in the consideration in the running for one of the first progressive rock albums. Very cool psychedelia, pop, and early prog. Like that a lot. All right, from the UK, Asgard. In the realm of Asgard. This is great. This is like a long-lost Uriah Heep album from the early 70s. I tell you, it sounds so much like Uriah Heep. Like the first 3-4 albums. Excellent stuff. Killer Hammond organ, blistering guitar. All right, guys, so many of you told me I need to get this Randy California solo album, Captain Copter and the Fabulous Twirly Birds. I like this, man. This is not like Spirit at all. This is basically like Randy doing a Hendrix album. I like it. Glad I picked that up finally. Really good stuff. All right, where are we? Killing Floor, 1971 from the UK. This is called Out of Uranus. Not Uranus Anus, the planet Uranus, so they say. Really good British blues rock. Dig that. Staying in the UK, Dark, Round the Edges from 1972. Good fuzz tone, blues rock, heavy rock, and prog. A lot of great riffs on that album. We're going to go up a bunch of years. 1980, British... New wave of British heavy metal band, A2Z, The Witch of Berkeley, live. If you like the new wave of British heavy metal period in the annals of heavy metal history, you'll want to check this out. Good stuff. Great guitar work on that. Very kind of thrashy in spots. All right, here's a fantastic one from 1976, the UK, Automatic Fine Tuning, AFT. Mostly instrumental, a little bit of vocals, but blistering, kind of fusion-y guitar work, almost some neoclassical shredding at spots, like really early stuff, way ahead of its time. Amazingly complex compositions. Kind of remind me of Finch a little bit. I really dig that one a lot. Staying in the UK, Charge from 1973. More really good, blistering blues rock, hard rock, that kind of whole proto-metal thing. A lot of good riffing and guitar solos and whatnot. Also from the UK, 1971, Megaton, self-titled. This is kind of cool, kind of proggy, kind of classic rock. Little bits of like some horns on here, a little bit of funk on here. Very cool album. Think like, you know, early Chicago, a little bit of Santana, a little bit of, you know, some of those other horn bands from the early 70s. Good stuff. I mentioned this one before. Ashbury, Endless Skies from 1983, Phoenix, Arizona. Wonderful album. Look at that artwork. It's almost like a homage to that great Hawkwind album. These guys are awesome. If you love vintage Wishbone Ash, the Allman Brothers, maybe the Outlaws, a little bit of Thin Lizzy, a little bit of Sabbath thrown in there. Really good, you know, dual guitar, a lot of great harmonies and guitar solos, and vocals are great. A little mix of like folk and heavy rock. Dynamite. They just released a new album in 2018. Check it out if you haven't. All right, from Texas, 1979, Black Horse, one and done album from these guys. I'm telling you, if you love Point Blank, Molly Hatchet, Skynyrd, ZZ Top, that sort of thing, you need this. Killer guitar work, heavy grooves and boogie, southern style. Oh, great stuff. All right, some more recommendations from our viewers here. Thundermug from Canada. I think these were in 1970 and 71. Orbit and Strikes. Really good Canadian early 70s heavy rock. A lot of good variety of material on here, though. You know, some cool, like there's some pop on here. A lot of blistering hard rock. A little bit of prog. Some kind of kooky stuff. Dig these guys. Very talented players, too. There they are. Well worth getting. And then we got a bunch from Finland's Wigwam. All right, these are you know, I had a couple of these back in the day, and then I went and got some of the remasters. And so this Wigwam from Finland, these come out from 71 through 76. So we got Fairyport, which is fantastic, probably my favorite out of all of them. This also is quite good. If you never listened to Wigwam before, you know, prog, classic prog meets jazz fusion. What do we got here? Lucky Golden Stripes and Star Pose. All right. And then finally, we got Nuclear Nightclub. All right. Probably some of the best Wigwam albums, in my opinion. I mean, I haven't heard many more, but these are all quite good. And as we kind of finish up here, the last two from Australia, 1972, Baker, Memento. Very cool. If you love classic Deep Purple, man, can't go wrong with this. Hammond Organ-O-Rama. Very proggy, very psych, a lot of hard rock. And last but not least, another recommendation from you guys, an album that I had heard about so many times over the years, just never got, from Stomu Yamashita, along with Steve Winwood and Michael Shreve. What is this album called? Go, right? We got Al Di Meola's on here as well. This is cool, kind of meditative jazz and jazz fusion and folk and world music. Kind of reminds me a little bit of maybe like an instrumental Traffic. And then, you know, occasionally you got the mighty Al Di Meola, who just burst in with an amazing guitar solo on here. So pretty cool stuff. Nice to actually finally have that really cool music. So that's it. 23 minutes worth of forgotten favorites, all sorts of killer stuff from the vaults, obscurities. What I'm going to do, give me a little bit, I'm actually going to drop all of the names of the bands and the years that they were released. I'll put as much description as I can into the description field, and then you guys can go seek them out on your own. So, all right, and hopefully enjoy some. Curious to hear what you guys think of any of these. If you already are well familiar with them, or maybe you actually, as a result of watching this video, go out and purchase some of them. Want to hear what you think. In the meantime, visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on the mighty YouTube. A lot of good stuff coming up. Jesus, what do we have coming up? We've got top 10 songs coming up next week on Iron Maiden and Jimi Hendrix and Dio and the James Gang and a bunch of other things, and questions and answers next weekend, hopefully. Bunch of stuff, and whatever other surprises I can pull out of my rear end this week. So hopefully there'll be more. So in the meantime, enjoy this, and we'll see you real soon. Take care.